Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us on this introduction to Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft Excel. Firstly, really appreciate your time this morning. My name is Chalmers. I head up the IT department here at Sim Software, and I've got my colleague Becca on the call as well, who's going to help out with any questions at the end. I can see that we have a few customers on the webinar who we look after from an IT point of view, so it's good to see some familiar faces once again. And I can also see that we have some customers who use us for dedicated Sage, Sim 50 or Sim 200 support. So welcome. For those of you who don't know, as well as providing support for Sage, Sim 50 and Sim 200, we at Sim Software also provide IT support, IT hosting solutions, IT security, etc. This gives our customers an all-in-one support solution where you just have one number to call for anything Sage, Sim, or IT related. So if that's something of interest, then please feel free to get in touch. But hopefully everyone will find this webinar useful this morning. If you feel Microsoft Copilot would benefit your business, then please discuss this with your current IT provider, if it isn't ourselves, of course. However, you're more than welcome to come back to us afterwards if you have any questions. Even if your IT is supported elsewhere, we're happy to help out wherever we can. So what we're going to discuss today is, we at Sim Software, we're giving our customers an AI webinar series, where throughout the series, we're hopefully going to be able to demo the latest AI capabilities that Microsoft has to offer through what hopefully people are starting to kind of hear through the grapevine is Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. Rather than show you how Copilot works with every product in one webinar, we've broken this down to a series. So we started the series with going through the Microsoft Teams premium product, where we demoed how you can get AI to generate notes, show you real-time language translation, as well as asking AI during and after the AI questions, after and during the meeting. If you missed the first webinar, then this is on our YouTube channel, but if you put Sim Software into YouTube, then you should be able to find it. But today we'll be moving on to discuss Copilot in Microsoft Excel. The next webinar after that will be Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Teams. I'll be combining these products as they will have very similar features, so we'll be able to discuss these in the same session. But finally, we'll do a webinar on Microsoft custom Copilots. Now, unlike Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which just plugs into your 365 data, custom Copilots are personalized to your business needs and your business only. We can build custom Copilots that become dedicated AI assistants to you and your colleagues that understand your unique workflows, anticipate your needs, and seamlessly integrates with your existing tools and systems. So whether it's a CRM, HR system, project management software, or communication platforms, we can create a custom Copilot that can plug into these solutions and publish to these directly to you. So Microsoft Copilot for 365 will plug into your Microsoft 365 data, which includes email, SharePoint, OneDrive, etc. Where with custom Copilots, we can extend this to all kind of solutions. So for those of you who use our Sim 200 and Sim 50 software, we're at the early stages of exploring what our custom Copilot would look like plugged into our products. So we can get to the point where we can ask AI questions such as, what was my revenue last month? How much do I have of this in stock, etc. If we get enough interest in that kind of things, we'll also look at potentially getting Microsoft involved with presenting a webinar to kind of explore all the possibilities that you can have with AI. So this is the agenda today, and and Microsoft launched Copilot last year, and this is their flagship AI product, and they are making a lot of noise about this at the moment. We will start the webinar today with just explaining what Copilot for Microsoft 365 is exactly, and then we'll show you what's called Microsoft Copilot Web Only, or simply known as the free version. This will give you an opportunity to kind of test and play with Copilot before potentially making the jump into Microsoft 365, Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. I will then do a live demo using Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 in Excel. And for those of you who use our Sim 50 product, as I know there's a few of you on this call, I'll just quickly show you how you can use Copilot with some of the Excel data that has come directly from Sim 50. Finally, we'll go through some pricing as well and have an opportunity, give you an opportunity to kind of ask any questions that you have. You'll notice at the top of the screen, you'll have a Q&A button. So please feel free to click on this and ask any questions that you have, and we'll go through this at the end. So let's make a start. So before we delve into the Copilot in Excel, which is, I appreciate what everyone's here to see, some of you may be asking, like, what is Copilot for Microsoft 365? And Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is an AI companion that sits within your Microsoft 365 applications, such as Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Teams, along with other Microsoft applications, and also integrates with your Microsoft 365 data. I will show you shortly how, like, where this button is, etc., in the Microsoft Office applications when we have a look at the Excel demo. I'm going to go through the AI companion, the Copilot in Excel shortly, but I played this video in the last webinar, so excuse me if you've already seen this already, but I'm just going to show you a quick intro video, which hopefully gives you an idea of how Copilot works, how this integrates, as well as show you some of the possibilities it has to offer. So hopefully that gives you a really quick sneak peek in some of the capabilities that Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 has to offer. But before we delve into the Excel side of things, which you may have kind of briefly seen on that video there, we're going to start with a quick overview of the free version of Microsoft Copilot. So hopefully after this call, you can experiment with some of its capabilities. Some of you may be aware that you already have access to the Microsoft Copilot free version on your machine. But note, this is what is called like web only. And I'm going to show you this in a moment. The difference between Microsoft Copilot free version, or web only, if you want to call it that, and Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is that the free version can only interrogate the public internet and use its generative AI features, where Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 can also query your business data as well as be embedded into your Microsoft Office applications. After this webinar, if you go into Microsoft Edge, you'll see an icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And from here, you can ask it questions, ask it to generate text or images. So here we have the icon up here. We'll just allow that to load. And as I said to you, this is free, so feel free to check this out. You can go to copilot.microsoft.com. I think it gives you like the full web page, but we can just ask it some very basic questions. So, what's the weather like in London today? Nothing exceptional, as I'm sure that you'll appreciate, but you can start asking it some very basic questions, and it tells you the sources of where it actually got that information for. But you can just ask it, like, tell me about some software. And again, it will quickly find information that you're looking for. But we can also get it to generate content. So let's just generate a letter to my local council about the recent roadworks. And you can see that it just creates like straight away a quick letter for you to copy and paste, chuck it into Word. And what it also does with Copilot, and you'll find this with the Excel thing as well shortly, is that you can ask it contextual questions. So it knows what you asked it before it. And this is the difference between like an AI solution and something like just Google search. So you can have a little play around with that. Obviously ask it, you know, whatever you would like to do, but have a play with this after the call. But you know, we can do something for a work-related point and just bring it back to something a little bit more serious. We can then actually ask it to write a standard HR policy, and it will just spew it out, and you can obviously copy and paste that for your needs. For a little bit of fun, what you can also do is can ask it to create an image, which hopefully it will do. And it does take a little bit longer to do the images, but again, this is literally free. And you can get it to create logos, create designs, patterns, I suppose. And again, we can just ask it to use like contextual questions. So can you change it? You can ask it, you know, anything. Give it something. Ask it to put something else on or whatever with your images, and you can really kind of play around with this and just have a little bit of fun. But also from a serious point of view, you can get it to kind of really generate some useful stuff. And again, this is free. So you can see that artificial intelligence is not coming, it's not on the way, it's already here, and changing people how they work and by making them more efficient and productive. It's already helping companies work smarter, adapt quickly, and innovate. And you might find that you've already got colleagues that are actually using this already. Please think of AI as a flexible tool that can be customized to fit your business needs. So Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 will extend AI into your Microsoft 365 data. But as we mentioned earlier, we can take this one step further with custom Copilots, where we can also extend this into your other applications. So as I said earlier, for example, we can embed Copilot into HR systems or CRM systems. And after this webinar, I hope you just feel that you can ask some questions like, can AI do this for this task for our business? Can it make this process better? And I've always had this problem. Can AI solve it? And if it does, then feel free to just get in touch and we can discuss. So this is why hopefully everyone's here. And if we click on this and let's bring up some Excel data. So let's just see how Copilot, the AI feature that we just looked at through the web free, let's imagine that technology plugged into Excel data that you own and you're working on. Now, I've got this on the internet, and this is a large data set of train journeys, so hopefully relatable to everyone. And you can see actually there's 31,000 records. So it's a big chunk of data. If we just go through very quickly on these columns, so we've got data purchase of the ticket, whether it's online station, payment method, and then we've got departure station, arrival station as well. And what we'll also play around with as well is the delay. So you can see that the journey status, sorry, was delayed or cancelled. And you'll see at the top here, we've got a Copilot button. So I'm risking this doing this live, so hopefully this will all go swimmingly. So let's focus on the purchase type. And this is basically where you ask it its questions and you get a little bit of prompting to start off with, you know, like gives you kind of a bit of guidance to what you potentially might want to ask. But you've got all this data and you want to really kind of, you know, dive into it basically. So what we're going to do is we're just going to ask out of all those 31,000 records, what percentage of the journeys were purchased online. And what it should do is it will analyze this column here, and then it will basically just give us an answer. And here we've got 58% were actually purchased online. And we can add this into a sheet or add it into a row or what have you. So if we go into here And let's ask it, are you able to create a table with the frequency of departure times and then put this into a graph for me? So what we want to know really is like where our peak travel times are. So again, it will analyze that, and then you can see here it's created a new sheet for me. But you can see that actually hasn't created the bar graph for me that I actually asked it to do. But if you wanted to kind of ask it, like, how do I do it? Then it will just essentially like tell you the answer. And then in this case, what it should do is tell me to do this, and then insert bar graph, and then away we go. Back to our data. And you'll see that there's another option here called show data insights. So what this does is sometimes you're not really sure what to ask Copilot. You might not have like an idea of what you think is actually in the data. And what Copilot will actually do is it will just pluck something out and just say like, oh, show me something that I basically don't know. Now, in this instance, it's gone for price by date of purchase. Not particularly useful for us at the moment, but if we click on here, which is add all insights to grid, it will create a new sheet and basically just give it all its insight about the data. And this is obviously from this 31,000 records that it's got. And just by a click of the button, you can see that you can see here that it's got some really kind of useful pivot tables. You've got some charts that you can use. And when you start using like your data, you'll start to kind of learn how to kind of prompt it well, asking it what exactly that you need. And very quickly, you can kind of generate these charts, these pivot tables out of your data. And these reports that take, I don't know, hours to put together can sometimes just take minutes. So let's ask it another question. Can you tell me what the top 10 most popular routes are? And you'll notice that the word route is not mentioned anywhere on this table. You've got departure station and arrival station, and Copilot will know that's what you mean. Departure and arrival is essentially the route. Add this to a new sheet, and then you've got your data. Go back to our data. Can you help me analyze revenue from different ticket types and classes? So we go to standard, you've got first class, and again, you can add this to a new sheet, and it will tell us basically the revenue that's generated between the different classes. Go back to our data. Can you help me diagnose on-time performance and contribution factors? So if we go into the delayed journey status, for example, I want to kind of understand that a little bit better. But what you'll find is that this kind of question, it gets to a point where it doesn't really quite understand what you mean. So it's giving me first class and standard details, but actually, let's drill it down and be a little bit more specific. What percentage of journeys were cancelled or delayed? And bear in mind, this is going through 31,000 rows on your Excel document. And also you'll notice that it gives you the formula that it actually puts together. So for those that are kind of really interested, you can actually deep dive into how it's actually got that information. So we've got 13%. Can you highlight the rows in red where the trains were either cancelled or delayed? So it goes, sure, yeah, let's do it. And then what you can do is click apply, and then you'll notice that all the rows will then be highlighted. That's basically how quick it is. And finally, we've got what percentage of cancelled or delayed trains had a refund request. So you'll see that there's a refund request column down the side. So this one obviously requested one, but in this case, obviously this one didn't. It's no. And then again, it kind of generates the formula. and then you can actually see the data there, and you can insert this and do any. But yeah, 23% basically required that, and you can see that you've got some. If we go up the side here, I think they disappear actually as you put them in, but you'll get some kind of suggestions. So it'll ask you further questions in terms of how you, as you're asking the questions from Copilot, it will suggest further questions for you to ask and more and more information. So I've got some data from our manufacturing product, which is Sim50. For those that don't have Sim50, but basically it manages it manages items in stock from a manufacturing point of view, and we've got an Excel file which has got some stock codes, we've got some quantities, and we've got reorder quantities, and we've also got the cost price of those items like here. So again, we click on Copilot, and what you may want to know is what is my total stock value. So what it should do is figure out that you've got 13 executive desks in Walnut, and the price of it is $52.96. So it's going to add those together and add all of this together, and then it will basically give you a stock value of £63,000. And then for those of you in the know, you will have a reorder quantity, which basically means that when the stock hits this level or below that level, you need to reorder the stock. That is the stock reorder quantity of that particular stock. And you might want to know what items that you have in stock, which is below that kind of threshold that you essentially have set. So you can see here that these items here are below the actual stock quantity needed. You'll notice at the end, you've got some supplier records. So let's ask it, what would happen if this particular supplier here, HAR001, put its cost up by 10%? And it will work that out for you. And if you hover over the insert column, it will preview basically what's actually going to happen. And you'll see that if I insert this as well, but this particular cost has gone up 10%, like I've created the column to kind of reflect this supplier and this supplier only. You can see this one's obviously stayed the same. And then I could obviously undo. And it does actually give you the option to undo as well after you undo basically what I've done. But you can ask it some basic questions. Can you remove the yellow formatting? And it'll go, yeah, sure. And then you can just ask it to clear. Obviously, there's buttons to do that, but you can ask Copilot to essentially do that for you. So I'm personally not an Excel expert. I'm sure some of you may have been able to quickly put together some of those formulas, quicker than a Copilot was able to. But for those of you like me that want to kind of drill down into this data without knowing any fancy formulas, then you can hopefully see how quick and easy it is to, and more importantly, how much time you can save. In theory, we can help you create a link between Excel and your Sage data, Sim50 data, or any other application that allows Excel to link to it. And then that will then obviously display in Excel on screen. For the technical people on the webinar, you might be familiar with ODBC connectors or SQL connections, but we can then simply use Microsoft Copilot to interrogate that data. Just to recap, when you have Microsoft Copilot, this is a single product that sits within all of your Microsoft 365 Office products. You cannot buy Copilot for Word on its own or just Copilot for Excel, for example. So how much? Well, Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is £24.70 per user per month on an annual license. But again, this is not just for Excel that I've just shown you. We've only just glossed over one of the products Microsoft Copilot integrates with, but also works with Teams, Word, Outlook, etc. as well. If you want to know its Teams capability, then please check the previous webinar as we went through some neat features that it has to offer. Some of you may know that Microsoft previously wanted the license costs for the year upfront. This meant customers had to pay nearly £300 per user upfront for each license. However, Microsoft announced last week that this will now change from the 1st of December 2024. So just like your other Microsoft 365 licenses, you will still commit to a year license, but pay for this monthly. They are also giving a 15% discount on any license orders of 10 and above. I appreciate this is one of the most expensive products that Microsoft offer, but I assure you, you can save hours of time using Copilot and also see an increase in productivity. And that will quickly become apparent when you start using it. So if Copilot is something of interest to you in your business, then please reach out to us or your current IT provider, and we could certainly discuss this further. We're happy to have one-to-one conversations about how this would work for you and your business. And then we can discuss Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, or maybe there's something that you have that a custom Copilot would be something that would interest you as well, where we can create custom AI assistants tailored to your specific needs. Just to remind you again about the up and coming webinars, so please look out for these. Becca will be sending out another announcement when this is ready to register. I believe she may have set this up already, actually. And the next one will be Word, Outlook, and Teams bundled into the same webinar. And then in January, we will show you like how the custom Copilots work. Really appreciate your time this morning. I understand that I've gone over this quite quickly to give you a very quick snapshot of what the AI capabilities are within Microsoft Excel. There are far more commands, far more prompts that you can really get into, and if you would like, I'm more than happy for you to kind of send us some data, and then we can do some one-to-one over the phone, so we can kind of play around with what it could potentially do and the information that it can essentially generate for you. Really appreciate your time this morning. Please don't forget to look out for the registration email, the next webinar, and open to any questions, which I hope Becca will be able to help me with, because I don't have them on screen. So if Becca has any that's popped up.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Okay, cool.
Got a few. So the first question is, does Microsoft offer a free trial of this?
Right, so they don't, unfortunately. They don't offer a free trial. The reason for the lack of trial, which is a little bit disappointing, I appreciate, is the fact that they have spent a huge amount of money on this, and they are very keen to get that money back. They are throwing a lot of incentives our way, and also to customers, more importantly, to try and drive this product. But one of the things that a lot of partners raised was the fact that they wanted this money up front for the whole year. And this is kind of in line with them wanting, their investment back quickly. So where it's £25-ish a month per user, if you've got 10 users, and then you've got to pay that for a year license, you can see that that puts a lot of customers off. So they are keen to obviously see a return on their investment, but unfortunately they are not offering a trial. However, I will say, please play around with that web free version. You'll start to use it, and hopefully what you will then do is it'll encourage you to almost use it every day. Ask it as many questions as you want. It's all free. And then just imagine that free version being plugged into your 365 data. And that essentially is your kind of trial. If you want to roll it out for a couple of users to start off with, then that would make sense. Maybe you just want to get a couple of licenses. Obviously, that would be an annual license annual license, unfortunately, that you will have to obviously pay for. But, for two of you, £50 a month to kind of really see the benefits of this from a business point of view, I think is a really good start of investment. And obviously just engage with us to help you with that.
That leads nicely into another question we've had, which is, what comes for free in Copilot versus paying the annual fee, using your demo as an example?
Yeah, so if we go back to this, so this is free. And basically what this does is it will generate content. This is essentially what a lot of people on the call may remember as ChatGPT, or still use ChatGPT, but Microsoft have used ChatGPT language model. So they will use the technical people on there with the GPT-4 and then this version GPT-5 and blah, blah, blah. But essentially what it does is it will generate content and it will query the internet. But what it will not do is you cannot ask it, for example, can you summarize? So what Copilot 365 will do is some neat things like, can you summarize my email from today? Can you find that email in regards to this webinar with Becca that she's helping with me? Can you prepare me for my upcoming meeting with Bob about such and such? Because what it will then do is it will scan all your documents, it will scan all your calendar items, it will scan all your emails, and it will spit out a summary of what you need to be aware of for your up and coming meeting with Bob, because it has the data there available to you within 365. Copilot free version, web version, whatever you want to call it, does not have any access to that data. It's only got, quote, the internet available to it. So I can ask it about the weather. I can ask it to generate a poem, a letter. But what I can't do is ask it to ask it questions about the data that I actually own. And that's where it can be really quite neat. One of the things that we use it for is asking questions that we know is embedded in documentation. And also we've recently upgraded our HR system. So we've then plugged that into our HR system. So I can then ask it, what's our sick leave policy? What's our holiday policy? Or how do I request a holiday or something? And you'll see that it actually can scan that document and tell us the answer. Hopefully that kind of answers that question. Also, it's embedded within the application as well. So you'll get that button within Excel, which you currently will not have. So going back to this one, you'll have this button here and the ability to kind of do all this basically with the paid version. Hopefully that answers that one. Let me know if it doesn't, because I'm happy to have another chat about it. So, but yeah.
Sorry, another question was, can Copilot refresh data and send data by email, e.g. a weekly sales report?
So that will be something called an automation. So that can be set up. You can set automatic workflows through Copilot. I'm going to be absolutely honest and say that I'm not haven't deep dived into that element of it. But the answer to your question is yes, it can certainly automate an email to go out, depending on how the report is kind of set up. Did you say a report, sorry, Becca, or an Excel report?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I imagine that we probably go. It probably won't be able to be done straight out the box. There might be a little bit of things that we'll have to do in the back end. But yeah, you're kind of moving into workflow territory, basically, where we can create custom workflows and then an automation, set that up. Then you get Copilot to essentially carry out that automation, and then the email would essentially be sent. I think I would probably say 95% sure that that can be done.
Nice. Another question was, if we have a CRM solution, can Copilot talk to that?
Depends on the CRM solution, but they do have 1,500 applications that it can plug into. Now, I don't have a list in front of me, but if whoever's asked that question, if you send me an email, what I probably should do, Becca, next time is I put my contact details at the end. But let me just go to the beginning slide. Yeah, so if you send an email to myself and let me know what that CRM solution is, I can actually tell you yes or no. The answer would be yes, if Microsoft already have that integration already built. If they don't, we may be able to actually create, again, a custom Copilot which customize that for you. So that would be kind of a one that we can build from scratch. There's things like Monday.com, Zoho, I don't know, there's like hundreds, isn't there? And they would plug into those ones like straight out of the box. But ones that might be a little bit kind of less known or a bit more custom, then potentially they'll have to be built from scratch.
Fab. And then the final question was, can we share the YouTube link to this video? And the answer to that is yes. I will email out the recording of this session to everyone that registered. Feel free to send that to any colleagues or anyone that you think might be interested in watching it. We will get that out to you shortly.
Just finally, with that, with this, appreciate the railway is obviously some demo data, but as I said earlier, if you want to kind of explore this a little bit more, rather than we give you like you pay for a license for you to kind of obviously test this, if there's like a particular report or something that you would like us to kind of work with, then I'm happy to spend 15-20 minutes on a call where if you send us your data, as long as it's obviously not got something confidential that you're happy for us to kind of see, then we can use this, and I'm happy to kind of show you some of the prompts, and we can kind of use this together to interrogate your own data and to see what the capabilities are, because obviously this is just demo stuff. But obviously if you want to kind of see really the capabilities of that, then I'm happy to do so. Cool. Is that everything? Is it all the questions, sorry, you said, Becca?
Yep, that's all the questions.
Cool. Again, thanks so much for your time. I'm gonna put let me go back to this one. I'm just gonna leave that quickly on screen. So yeah, you'll get an invite to that, but if you go to our website, which is Sim Software Events, you'll find these. Is that right, Becca? Are these online already, I think?
Yep,
right,
they're all ready to be signed up.
Always. So feel free to register, and I will do something essentially very similar with the Word, Outlook, and Teams. I appreciate I did the Teams last time. That was really for Teams meetings, but there is a Teams integration which is called Copilot Chat. So you can essentially use, there's a chat basically called Copilot, and then you can really start to ask it questions about your data, find that email, when's my next meeting with such and such, those kind of things, and it will give you that kind of information. And then obviously with the custom Copilot, we can kind of go through how we can really kind of build something quite unique for you and your business. And then, as I said earlier, if we're getting a lot of interest in regards to this and people are interested, then we could do another webinar with Microsoft on the call. They will basically present Microsoft Copilot with us, and you can then have an opportunity to kind of ask Microsoft directly questions about this solution. As I said, we're splitting it up into little chunks, but yeah, we'll certainly have a look at that, and that is something that we're keen to do. But if no one's got any other questions, then again, thanks very much so much for your time, and yeah, speak to you next time.